Oh, it's the other way. 3, 2.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Oh. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Disabled Girls Who Lift. So, gonna get a little serious today, a little chatty today. So, I would give a little bit of a content warning for, let's call it what? Violence, policing, racism.
All
So,
of the above.
if you're not here for that today, fine. Take a pause, swipe whatever direction your device swipes, listen to a different episode, come back to this when you're ready. That's that. This is Marcia on so-called Florida, Seminole Tribe land.
And it's Marybeth in Northern California on Ohlone land. And that break, I definitely felt I had to take 2, 3 weeks off before even thinking about it again.
Yes.
'Cause, you know,
So we're at a time where the country, yet again, is going through something together. And it doesn't mean that these things didn't exist before. It doesn't mean that the people affected by these things didn't know about it. It just means now everybody's talking about it, right? So in June, we dealt with the whole everybody knows, oh, police killing black people, George Floyd, I can't breathe, Breonna Taylor, and there's shirts and there's fundraisers and there's just media and then there's, oh, everybody needs to read books and just trauma on TV, just
mm,
a lot, a lot. And here we are, yet again on the similar vein, because it all comes from white supremacy, don't be fooled. But here we are, yet again, and now we are talking about hate crimes against AAPI folks. So here we are with a rise in the numbers, thanks to people saying things like Chinese virus, thanks to things that have existed in this country for decades that we don't really think about or talk about or know about or explore. So here we are. Here it is.
yeah, yeah. And just because we're all sitting at home watching TV a little more this year or watching social media a little more this year, right, does not mean it started yesterday.
Yeah.
Anti-immigration has been going since the start of literally immigration.
Yes, ever since they decided that America wasn't for the natives, but anyone else who comes here is an immigrant, there
Mhm.
has been anti-immigration sentiments. But I could definitely say, at least like as a black person, that there's some weirdness. There's some weirdness going on, and I think people have some trouble figuring out what that weirdness is about. Um, like somebody, I forgot what big publication, but some big publication was like, the title was like, "What do Black people need to do to support Asians in this time?" And like,
Okay.
what you mean? Like, what do you mean?
For the first time in history, like have we've always I feel like have shown solidarity together. Like you look at I mean, okay, I can't make a blanket statement obviously. We see hatred here and there, but like hip hop, right? Amongst Black and Asian groups in urban communities as well, like, and how there was so much, I don't know, just so much love in the culture and the cultures that we share. Uh, I feel like has been ignored through this whole time, right? And not it didn't stop with music. It since all the riots back then.
Yeah, and it's like that's why I'm calling it weirdness, and I think people don't know what to call it, so they say, "Well, we need more solidarity." Well, we need yeah, I guess, but also like that's like who's pitting us against each other? Where does it come from? Where does it start? And I think that's really like where the place that people usually don't start from and where they need to start from in this conversation. Because when it comes to anyone attacking anyone, whether we're talking about Asian community, trans community, gay folks, black folks, whatever it is, like who's telling us that we should be against each other and why do they want us to feel that way, you know?
Mhm.
Like when you come down and boil it down to like, oh, white supremacy, like these folks up here at the top want us to be what, and we're not that. And if we're together, fighting together, like we'll be a force to
Then
be
they
reckoned
win.
with, then
Right.
they don't want that. So I feel like there's so much to unpack there in both communities, but people from the outside looking into these communities, like you can't be saying this shit. Like
Mm,
you don't know what you're talking about.
no.
You don't know what you're talking about. Because I mean, you could look at Black Panthers and see Asian activists in Black Panthers. Like you don't know what you're talking about. You could see
Exactly.
us in our music and our culture together. Like you don't know what you're talking about. Does that mean that there aren't black people that make racist ass Chinese jokes about Chinese food? No. Like does that mean that there's not Asians that are like hella Republican that are anti-black? No. But where does it come from?
White supremacy.
Yeah.
Cisgender white men thinking they're above everybody else in not just the US, just colonialization in
Yes, the
general. You're seeing that
colonialism.
in
Yeah.
UK, in Europe, right? People had to escape literally the heir of the Queen of England because they were experiencing racism against the princess and their children. Like you have to run away from these things and seek asylum. And that's like here in the US, we're trying to find that just amongst our own communities.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. But like you said, colonialism, it's everywhere, right? Like, I mean, you go to Asian countries and like, why are we lightning? Why is everybody lightning, right? Like, even my parents and your parents, right? Like, we have that in common. I wonder why. Like, why do they care about us
Yeah.
being light? Hmm.
That's
Like, why
exactly.
why are they why are people trying to get nose surgeries or eyelid lift surgeries, why, what are they trying to look like, straightening, worried about straightening your hair? Like we have that all in common.
Yep, you're always striving to look like those European features, being as white as possible. That's why colorism exists still so
Yeah.
heavily in Asian cultures, still in Black cultures. And another thing too that you're seeing is other Asians pitting against other, or seeing that there's still some what Korean versus Chinese
Oh yeah.
hate in the US because of the misinformation of the coronavirus. But also, where is that coming from? Still
Yeah,
the
it's still white supremacy. You got
it's
you gotta
still white
call it, you gotta
supremacy.
swipe or no swiping, gotta call him by its name. It's still there and it's so ingrained. Like, even Shravia was just talking about that on her episode. She went to India recently, and they're talking about how she's so dark. Like
Mhm.
it's so pervasive and everywhere. And at the end of the day, that's why.
And
And so,
literally, we look the same at the end of
yeah,
the day. Like white people will always put us in the corner.
yeah. At the end of the day, they can't tell the difference between nationalities and they're going to lump you in. So like all of these people that are being attacked, they're not all actually Chinese, right? Like
Exactly.
they're attacking everyone. Or even
But
when it was after 9/11 and Islamophobic attacks were on the rise, like you just look like you were Muslim, like good enough.
mhm.
They can't
Yeah.
tell the difference. So we could hate each other and that just makes it easier for them. Break us apart. They're gonna hate us anyway.
And I know, I mean, we stopped talking about his name for a little while, but like Trump had a lot to do with the anti-Asian COVID scare because of his misinformation and literally everything that was going around in the world. And that's also a huge reason why we still see that Asian violence out in the street. You know,
Mhm.
Filipino grandmas, Japanese grandpas, Korean and Chinese elderly are being like blamed. for this
Mhm.
virus, though we're not blaming the people who threw the fucking parties, traveled all over the
Right.
world,
Right.
threw parties within our own, like, country.
That's so
Y'all
true.
stupid. Y'all just looking
And
for
it's
somebody to
ugh.
blame.
And they're gonna say, "Oh, this is not us. This is not America." Like, no, actually, like this
No.
is very on brand America.
Yeah.
America loves to pick on an immigrant culture and say it's your fault. Like we just Googled 2 seconds ago, yellow peril. Like, what did that was like, oh, Chinese immigrants that they paid to take jobs over. Oh, we could blame the Chinese now. Like
Mhm.
9/11 happened and they made the Patriot Act, and oh, we could blame the Muslims. Like it's very on brand America. Pick somebody to blame for our problems.
Yeah,
And then
damn.
everybody just fucking goes down that same rabbit hole, not even stopping to think like, "Oh, hmm, does this make sense?"
Damn. Yep. Just like national scare tactics. It can go on and on. When we talk about terrorism, why aren't we
Mhm.
talking about the white guy with the AK-47 allowed to walk
Exactly.
up and down the streets who actually are killing like
Exactly.
hundreds of people who look like you?
And I don't know if you know how many of these like senators or representatives or whatever that go hard in the NRA paint, and they go hard like there's this one that's out there who's like fucking wild, Marjorie some shit, some white lady. And she like literally followed the teenagers from the Stoneman Douglas, the Parkland shooting in Florida. They went to
Mhm.
DC to lobby or whatever, like, make a case about gun rights, and she literally like heckled them down the street. Like these are children that watch their friends die,
Mm.
and you have that energy for them, and then you'll have the same energy for Chinese virus. Like like, you're not helping anybody. Like what are you doing with that? What is the hate doing? Like all you're doing is just scapegoating. Like it feels good for you to blame it on somebody. And like she's accusing their children. Oh, they're
Damn.
paying you, aren't you? Who's paying you to say these things? Like what?
Wow.
Instead of just being like accountable, like, oh shit, yeah, we got a gun problem, guys. And it's white people shooting them. We should do something about it. No.
Or we got an anti-masker problem because literally, like Republican white people, crying about their rights being revoked, want to be out in the public, constantly
Mm-mm.
spreading the virus, yet we are still blaming Asians who, for decades, know what to do because, the minute that it happened in a lot of the Asian countries, they're like, oh, masks? Oh, okay, we're gonna abide by this because this is literally how we have to survive.
Yeah, and it's not, I don't think it's new for some of these countries, right? Like they're all, we need to investigate China and this, and we need to investigate them. Well, I'm like, I mean, sure, I'm sure you do, right? I mean, you
Yeah.
don't trust any government, fuck that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But at the same time, like, well, what did you do? Like, didn't you get the reports in January? You didn't say shit, do shit? Like, where's your energy? I don't understand. I don't understand. It's just like very on brand America scapegoating, and I just hate it here. And I don't think it's helping any that it's all coming from like specific sects of our country, right? Like it's the same kind of people, right? Like it's the same white terrorist with a gun. It's like the same anti-maskers. Like it's the same get out of our country, go back where you came from
Yeah.
type of people.
Well, violence is centered around white supremacy. When you
Yeah,
think of the KKK, they weren't out there, peacefully
that's
protesting.
true.
Legit, like it's centered around violence is centered around white supremacy. And same, I mean, you think of all of this combined and I don't remember his name, not that we need to, but the guy that was shooting up freaking Asian spas and how easy of a, how light of a slap on the wrist he got. If he wouldn't have, um, you know, pleaded guilty,
Hmm.
they would have still given him the slap on the wrist and said, "Oh,
The fact
take
that
him
they
to."
captured him alive,
Yeah.
honestly. You could just go there, like The fact that they captured him alive, but the police killed 12 and 13-year-old black and brown kids, like
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
tells you everything you need to know. It's just such a fucking sham. And it's just so disheartening also because some of these communities that are being harmed the most are aligning politically with the communities that are harming them the most.
Yeah.
So you have some like Asian AF communities that are Republican AF also. And not to say that Democrats always good, but they be going hard in the bad Republican paint, you know?
Yeah. No, no. Like it's
Like,
bad.
yeah,
It's
you know.
yeah.
There were Asians that were I love Trump and I'll always vote for Trump, and well Trump is against abortion and I'm against abortion. Like, you know, like
Yet Trump also wants you out of the country
no,
and
no,
your
no.
children
Nope,
and
nope.
doesn't give a shit about how much time you spent on this land or how much you served in the military. That's a really big one that I feel like a lot of my Republican Filipino comrades will never understand. Like you see that viral video of, I believe it was a Japanese man and his scars
Oh yeah.
inflicted while in the military. They see him as another Asian man. Doesn't they don't fucking care.
Yeah. They
Who
don't get
quote
that.
unquote does not belong in this country, who quote unquote brought the kung flu virus to the US, like we'll always be pitted against each other.
Mhm. Yeah, it doesn't
So
make
they
any
could have
sense.
died for this country.
Quite
That
literally.
I do not understand. I do not understand.
No, and some of that is very deep seated in history and you know things that we in our generation don't necessarily understand because you know our older generation doesn't always share these things. They don't share their feelings. They don't share their like histories and traumas. They just keep it moving, right? So
Mhm.
you might never know if your great granddad fought for fucking a war in America as a Filipino citizen and they promised him citizenship and then they changed their mind. And since it was a Democratic president, he is like, fuck Democrats forever. And he just passed on that line, you know? You don't know anything else, you just know fuck Democrats
True
forever.
story. True
Like
story.
that's all you get. You don't get the rest of it. Like
Yeah.
we don't understand what's happening. We just get fed something. And I don't know how you get to be the person that wakes up and says, is this right? I don't know how that gets to happen.
Mhm.
I don't know. I guess the media, I don't know. I'm not really sure. But I think the other part of it, besides the fact of like history and like colonialism and politics, I mean there's also that part of it of like fetishize how you say that word? Say it.
Fetishization.
Yes.
Fetishization. Fetishization.
Fetish. 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 No.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a very mild term too, right? I say fucking violence. I say sexual violence because it can easily go to that.
Yeah.
um, 0 to 100 real quick, right? Within a few seconds. If me as a white colonizer am not getting my needs fulfilled by you as an Asian woman, because, we live this world for the white male gaze, apparently, nah. If it's not happening out in Southeast Asian countries, if it's not happening even here in the US, they can fucking explode right away because we're supposed to be what? Um, we're supposed to obey
Mhm.
to them no matter what because of white colonialism. Um, yeah,
Yeah, and it's not
that's where that fetishization comes from.
not even like you already have to deal with the fact if you're in a feminine body whether or not like that's already a thing, right? That's one level. Then on top of that, you're Asian, so like you're like a doll, like you're not even a person, like you're like a
Mm,
plaything. And of
yeah,
course, violence comes with that because they don't see your humanity.
no, no, we don't have
There
a
is none.
voice, and if you speak up, and that's internalized as well in our own culture. I mean,
I mean, you're
Even Asian
colonialized
men,
cultures,
and
right?
exactly. Asian men, always felt as though they needed control over their Asian women, wives, household folks. Like we weren't allowed to study, go to school, that kind of shit happened all over the place.
Yeah.
But when you bring in the white supremacy, they feel like still, as of today, can do whatever the hell they want.
Oh, yeah, because you're not a person. You're like just their thing. So like the fact that this fucking loser that shot up the spa, like the fact that he could say all of the things he said and people air it, like why?
Mm.
Because of that, because people see the fetish and they see the Asian women in that spa, and I'm sure people are probably like, "Ooh, were they sex workers or were they like who the fuck cares?
Who
It's a
the
hate
fuck
crime.
cares?
White man commits hate crime. The
Yeah,
end."
yeah.
Like, I don't give a shit about his sexual whatever blah. I don't give a shit about his like church. Don't give a shit. White man kills people in a hate crime. Period.
Mm.
Reporting is done. I know everything I need to know.
He was just having a bad day and he needed to get rid of his sexual addictions. Get
Like,
rid of your
no.
sexual addictions through a psychiatrist,
No.
not by killing humans.
No, if that was a black dude that shot a white lady, they wouldn't say any of those things, you know? Like they wouldn't say any of those things. It doesn't make
Um,
any sense. I
or
hate
if it was the other way around and it was an Asian shooting up any freaking businesses, oh, all of a sudden we're gonna start a war against this entire country.
yeah. Yeah. So it's okay for one person to represent every culture except for white people representing Americans. Like when a white person does something, this isn't America, this is not us. This is un-American.
Boom.
They love saying that. But coronavirus comes from China, every Chinese person, Chinese virus, Chinese flu, Kung flu, like you only generalize in one direction.
Yeah.
It don't make no sense. It gets
Oh,
real old.
it's so tiring, man. And for people to empathize with that like explanation, you know, just makes no sense to me either. The fact that they're like, "Oh yeah, I understand. Oh, he needed to, solve the problem.
Mm-mm.
He needed to find a way to solve the problem."
Problem
Like
was him.
and it's not even funny, you know.
Like, what?
It wasn't just one or two, it was multiple.
Yeah, and
It was
people
a
that were just there.
rampage.
It was people that were
Full
just there
on.
too, like
Yeah,
customers too.
full on rampage.
Yeah, and they caught this guy alive. And then I don't know if you saw the story that came out after that somebody's husband, they locked him up because he was brown, just because he was a
Yeah.
Hispanic looking dude. They locked him up and he couldn't like hold his wife's hands when she died. Like what
He
the
was
fuck?
I think he was trying to perform CPR on his own wife and was asking for help, and the authorities did not want to, and,
They
she
handcuffed him.
legit died in his arms and he got arrested.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like what?
yeah.
What is going on here? But then they're gonna say it's un-American. This is not us. It's the same kind of shit. Like at the end of the day, I'm not even gonna say if, when this guy goes to trial and shit happens and they let him off easily, right? And people protest in the street, what are they gonna call it? Riots. But at the end of the
Mhm.
day, if there's some fucking hockey championship and people's favorite team win and they go out in the streets, like nobody says anything, like they're fine with that. Like that property
Yeah,
damage is just cool. White people are doing it. Like
yeah.
like I don't get it.
Oh, it's for good reason. It's for celebration.
They're
Like, the
celebrating in the
fuck?
streets. Celebrates. They take the celebrations to the streets. Like, nah, that's the riot.
The fuck?
That's the riot. I don't get that. That part is very confusing to me. So yeah, hate is a virus, as they say.
Yeah. It just breaks my heart that we're still having this conversation.
Yeah, and I think the only thing that's different this time around for sure is that there's there's definitely more Asian folks asking black folks, "What the fuck? How did you handle June?"
Mhm.
That's like it's the only thing I could tell you is different, right? Because everything is the same fucking story. They're fucking killing us. But at least I could say that's the difference, is that I'm not seeing my trauma. You know, I'm not having my family members call me and tell me they're scared right now. Like, I'm not seeing people my color on the screen getting shot up and whatever, like, you know.
I mean, it's just, oh, and that's the thing too about like re-traumatizing ourselves from our own personal experiences because it's the trend, because it's a hashtag. Why is that fair? Like it it hurts
No,
to think
it's
back.
disgusting. Like that
Yeah.
these videos are shared. Like, I don't want to see the video. No, I don't want to see this. I don't want
Mhm.
to see the video, and I know that nobody's doing anything about it. Like, why are you showing me this just for shock? Like, what is there to learn from watching the violence firsthand? I don't need to.
Mhm.
I
Like,
don't.
yeah, we're angry. No shit, we're angry. What kind of response do you want me to have for you? Or the ones that reach out after 10, 20, 30 years of not talking or giving a crap about your life are like, "Hey, since you're my only Asian or black friend, I just want to check in to see if you're
How are you
okay. I'm
doing?
here for you. I'm only a call away." Shut the fuck up.
Here for what? You don't even know me. Like,
And are you showing that solidarity publicly or
mhm.
privately, right?
Yeah, I
Same
don't need your
thing.
whisper activism. Like,
Yeah, yeah. Same with trans
mm-mm.
rights now. Like all of this that's happening in the world, we're losing our rights, our privileges, and our lives. Like
Yeah.
it's just one on top of another.
And is this gonna be the same shit? Like, after June, everybody's like, oh, black owned business. Oh, support these black owned brands. Oh, buy from these black. And now I'm seeing it. Oh,
For Asians.
API
Yeah.
brands. Oh, Asian
Yeah.
funded businesses.
Follow
And
these people.
and so are we gonna stop caring in 2 weeks? Like, when it's not cool anymore? Like, what's
Yeah.
happening? What's going on? Where's that gonna go? I don't know anything about. I do have a real life question that maybe I need to do some unnecessary amount of Googling on. But I would love to know what the conversation is on, the Fox News is and all that
Mm,
about the Asian specific hate crimes. Because we know how it goes with the blacks and
mm.
all their snafus. How many times they even say things like that, the
I don't
blacks.
even, oh my God. I don't even want to go there.
I don't know. And I
Oh, I mean,
wonder if there's the same, like we have that Candace lady,
yeah,
like
yeah,
the
yeah.
the model black person that they love to have who's like fucking anti-black and whatever, and that's like the spokesperson for black people. Like, see, she agrees with us. Like, that's the spokesperson for that. Like, is there an Asian version of that? Is that person right now? Like,
There are tons, I'm sure. And then, I mean, I don't know if Fox News has gotten a hold of this, but NBC had just posted one of that a Korean Republican congressional candidate in Texas who is anti-Chinese immigrants because of COVID and
yikes.
how that came about with all the Stop AAPI hate and all that. It's just like, oh yeah, that's probably going to be their next Candace. That's going to be their spokesperson. I can see that happening
Yeah.
because you have somebody who looks like, you know, the ones who are being oppressed and is acting as though they are not oppressed or treated the exact same way
Yeah.
until maybe their grandparents get kicked on the streets,
Yeah. No, for
right?
real. Yeah, and like, I mean, at this point, I've already unfollowed anybody I don't want to see, so fuck that. But are we doing the same thing again? Are people posting like those shitty pictures again? Like, what are they gonna post this hand? They better not be posting a yellow hand and a white hand. What are they gonna post this time? Like all those black and white heart swirls. Like, what are they doing this
Oh
time?
my God, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see
I
it.
don't want to see it. It's all
You said
performative.
yellow hand, white hand. I automatically thought of The Simpsons.
They better not. They better not be posting nothing yellow out there.
Uh,
It better not. I don't know.
this world is wild.
It is very wild. But I mean, at the end of the day, I hope you know what white supremacy is. That's the main idea. That's always the TLDR. Why is this happening?
Yeah,
White supremacy. What can you do about it? Learn about white supremacy. Get uncomfortable if you have to.
for
Even
real.
if you are Asian, even if you are black, because you might have some anti internalized bullshit for yourself too. Because we all know that. That's a part. Some of us are lost. It's
That's
not
very true.
not not
And it's true,
this.
especially now, because with this Stop AAPI hate, people are going to the automatic assumption that if they're seeing a lot of videos of the people who are, um, causing the harm, causing the violence, and they're like, oh, they're not white. Oh, that guy's actually black. Are we doing black versus Asian hate now? Like, no, you're
Mm-mm.
losing. You're forgetting that a lot of this is stemming from the violent words that Trump aired on national TV, that Fox News has been sharing on national TV about COVID coming from China, Chinese people in the US and immigration. And it's happening all over the place.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's so many communities that there's tensions between between the cultures, between nationalities, or like you said, even Asian communities within themselves.
Hmm.
And these have all existed already. So you add something else on top of it.
Yeah.
Like
Media's got to do better.
I think so. I feel like there's no such thing as like true journalism anymore, right? Like if there's anything I want to find out, I'm Googling it. Like I'm not like there's nothing on the news that is teaching me, right? Like nothing
Yeah.
is actually telling me something I should know. Like nobody is out there saying like the article I mentioned before. What do black people need to do to support Asians? Like, what are you talking about? This is
What?
what's out there. Or I mean, how many people, like you said, there's gonna be people out there like, oh no, it's black people attacking Asians.
Yeah.
Like that's you're wasting my time.
Yeah. I mean, and just back to like the what did they call it? The Rodney King riots down in LA, Koreatown, right? They're
Mm,
like, "Oh, Korean-owned businesses are the only ones getting targeted by these black activists for the Rodney King trials." Like this was how white supremacy pitted us against each other from decades ago.
yeah,
It's
that
happening
was
all over again.
tension and tension and tension. Like something already, and all it takes is one event. And I don't think, and I
Or
think
one video.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think we have to stop looking at things as single events. Like this shit happened because this happened, because that happened, because 50 years ago the US invaded this, or because China and supported this guy, but the US threw that guy out and put like I don't think people really realize like how much this shit affects us down the
Mm,
line, you know? Like
yeah.
our these giant countries have literally been fucking little hands in countries all over the world, and
Yeah.
then all of us mesh together in America. Like it's there's gonna be levels to everything. Hello. It's not just gonna be, oh well, these black people hate Koreans, you see? Mm-hmm. Like
God damn it. You don't get
you
it.
don't get it. You don't get it. It's very
Well,
American. It's very on brand. I have to hear
glad we
one.
got that off our chest
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that was for you though, you know? That was for you. I can't say anything besides what I know and what I feel. But like I said, I'm not seeing my body on the screen. I'm not having my grandma tell me that she's scared to walk outside, like I'm seeing all of that.
Yeah, I mean, but that's also where the solidarity comes from because there is still violence. And when you think of fetishization again, sexual violence, violence against misinformed, pandemic shit, like there's still always some history there.
Yeah.
And even like pornography can be to blamed. Like there's still sexual violence against, black women, Asian women, Latino women because of that white supremacist mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the exact same thing.
Yeah, it's pretty gross. It's pretty
It is
gross.
the same thing. We need to get rid
But
of it.
but what I meant, just in case it wasn't clear, is like this was your episode to record. Like this was your episode to lead. So, like the friend that's like the friend not friend. Like, are you okay? You want to talk about it? Like,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
no, no. Like when you want to record this episode and talk about it, we will talk about it, and we did, and we have. Boom, there it is. So I think because there's also like because it's cool, right? I'm pretty sure somebody out there is like, oh, because it's cool. Did they post about this? How come they did an episode about Black Lives Matter? Didn't do an episode about
Yeah.
this? Like I'm sure that's out there. But I mean at the end of the day, when you're actually the one that's being hurt,
Yeah.
like you're not it's not a performance. you
No, no,
know?
no, no.
Like you can't just press play and expect somebody to do what you want when they want it. Like
No, because these are our lives. And I do appreciate that, We said this off camera, but even same with Black Lives Matter, like we couldn't do it 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, 6 months ago. It's gonna take some time to, again, I don't know, just go through our own internal trauma, our own shit, talk to
yeah,
our own family members about our own problems, until we
exactly.
feel comfortable and ready to talk about it. Because it's not just a trend to us, it's legit our lives.
That's it. It's not a trend. And there's going to be a lot of people that are like, ooh, I need an Asian lady to talk, and I'll host an event this month. Like, that's going to be a thing.
Yeah.
And then it'll die down, just like things died down after June. Like, same fucking shit, different toilet. This is our lives. So,
Yeah. No, and there's still so much, like, every time this comes up, even right now, so much in my head that's so traumatizing that I can't talk about, as much as I want to. It's, oh,
a lot.
a lot.
A lot.
And we're not just doing it for the camera
And at the end of the day, we
or for the
still,
podcast.
yeah, at the end of the day, you still have to somehow function. Like, the world, like, the rent's still due on the first. Like, what the fuck?
Like, I gotta go to work the next day.
Like, you just have to keep it
Gotta
moving.
put a face on.
Yeah, and if you're not, especially you're in a work environment where it's not supporting you and the things that are happening, it's like, yo, what the fuck? Um, like I know there was this one guy that I followed on Twitter. I can't remember his name right now. Asian dude. I don't know what nationality. But he was just posting like he's the only Asian dude in his class. He's studying in school, and like nobody's like he's like literally having mental fucking breakdowns. Like he's not okay.
Yeah,
He's not okay because every day somebody's calling him and telling him how they're scared to go out, and he's like buying pepper spray for his mom, and like he's not okay. And there's nobody in that school that's they'll be the first one that's like, oh, we need to host DEI, but their actual student is directly affected, and nobody has reached out to him like, hey, do you need some extra time with assignments? You good?
yeah. Yeah, it's either it's like sometimes on completely opposite ends. Either they're all staring at you, waiting for a breakdown, asking if you're okay, asking if you're okay,
Mm-hmm.
or completely ignore your traumas and what you might be going through and
No, because
saying, "Oh no, it's Monday."
you have to be outwardly like on the floor flailing for somebody to be like, oh, you're hurting. Okay.
Yeah.
Like they have
Yeah.
to see the tears. Like, what is it? I don't get that.
Yeah.
That I don't
I
get.
mean, a big thing right now is, well, I mean, I'm not seeing DI. I'm talking to a lot of because I'm in sales. I'm talking
Yeah.
to some Asian reps throughout other teams who are experiencing, we're talking to customers time and time again, out on the field, they're getting those nasty racial slurs, and don't know how to take it. Like there's professionalism, there's act like
Mm.
everything's okay.
Yeah, like
Um,
smile and nod is the default for most
yeah,
cities, right?
yeah. What's more important, getting the sale and being a good sales rep, a good
Fuck.
professional, or fucking speaking up for yourself and probably losing millions of dollars,
Yeah.
for the company. Like, what the fuck? It's not worth it. It's not. That's
Mm-mm.
what I'm telling them is no sale is ever worth your mental or physical health.
Mm-mm.
But it's hard to, find that balance.
Definitely. It definitely is. And it's even like not even just sale, like it's safety too, right? Because at the end of the day, like they don't see our humanity. So you might smile and nod, like, I just got to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. No,
I don't
seriously.
know where this is gonna go. I just smile. Haha, okay, haha, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, okay, great. You made a joke about Chinese food. Haha, I gotta go. Okay.
Yeah. And
Like
and the thing about right now is like we are literally scared that anybody could have like a gun in their pocket,
right.
or like it's not just words.
Yeah. Yeah, and um it's not extreme to think that way because this is literally what's happening. I saw this other comment and I don't know if the timing is true, but they were like, we're opening back the country and now we're having a mass shooting every week.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if that checks out, but it's, you know, off the shelf it seems like it. Yeah. Like
Yeah, I
we're
mean,
back. Here we go.
yeah, I did hear that. I mean, I don't know if the statistics are right,
Yeah.
if it's not being like, publicized, if it wasn't being publicized during the pandemic, because again, media's in control, right?
Right. I mean,
Even social media.
all we know is that most schools are cut back on whatever, so maybe there hasn't been school shootings. I don't think. I don't
Because no
know.
one's, no. Oh God, don't even. Schools are
So
starting back up again.
I don't know.
Um, but this one happened like at normal businesses, I guess, because they were allowed to do indoor spas
Yeah, and then there
recently.
was something
The
in
minute they
Boulder
opened
like
up.
the next week, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah,
Mm-mm.
at a grocery store.
I mean, the fact that kids that go to school nowadays have active shooter drills, like, come on. Like, come on. That's some shit. So there are people that were reporting from the Capitol shit, like riots,
Mhm.
that the only reason that they didn't like get caught in the violence or get caught in the mob or whatever is because they had a young intern, and the young interns are like decades younger than them. They're doing active shooter drills at school,
Oh, damn.
so they know what to do. They knew what to do. Okay, we got to block the door. Okay, we got to go here. We have to hide here. Look for the best place to hide. Okay, lock all the exits. Okay, like they knew what to
Whoa.
do.
I just got chills.
That's fucking scary.
Mm-mm. That's the new reality. But
Yeah,
I'm not okay with that. It
I'm
shouldn't
not.
have to be that way. I mean, I'm also glad that this state, California, has very, very strict, no concealed carry. Like it's really, really
Mm,
hard to get a concealed carry license, or even just being licensed for a gun.
right.
But still, so many states in the U.S.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, they're cool with open carry as long as you're white.
right,
You could like what? That's just so like, why is that necessary? Why do you ever need to just be like, oh, I'm gonna go to CVS, I gotta get my prescription, got my gun on my shoulder? Like, why?
right,
The
yeah.
fuck is that? I don't think I can ever understand that culture, and I don't really. I just don't get it. I'd love to know. I'd love to somebody sit down and explain that to me. I don't really get it.
And we really can't just say it's for the economy because, I mean, you know, same with the legalization of marijuana in a lot of states, right? It was to help the economy, yet everybody who was black and brown that got incarcerated is still in prison.
Yeah.
They never reduce their charges. And then saying that the NRA and, these gun industries are
They want
making
to
so
take
much
our
money for the
guns.
economy,
Mm-hmm.
like, oof. What's more important? Money or people?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep, 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 yep.
Freedom. What? How is that taking away your freedom? Can't you
Freedom.
just do that at a range where you can leave the gun there and then go back to your home?
I will never like I need somebody to like logically explain to me that culture because I don't get it. I don't for what? For what? For what? And then they're like, "Oh, guns don't kill people. People kill people." Okay, well, the people got the guns. I don't understand. Like I really like I need somebody that's like level-headed to like sit down and tell me the history because I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me. Like why are you so in love with your gun that you need to be able to walk in Walmart with it? Why?
Yeah.
I don't get that. Like why are you so in love with your gun that you don't want them to take away assault rifles? Why do you need the assault rifle? What are you doing with it? Like why is that an integral part of you as a person?
Right.
I need to understand it. I don't get it.
And you know damn straight, all you I mean, everyone who just owns a gun, anyone who owns an automatic as well, like, damn straight if you were to flip the switch and just get angry one day, you could be easily one of those terrorists. Easily.
I mean,
Like,
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't understand. I mean, there's nothing wrong, people like to shoot guns, cool. People want to go to gun ranges, like people hunt. I'm not like there when it comes to like I don't mind hunting, you eat the animal, like that's what nature's for, cool. But I just can't get the level of I don't want you to take my guns away and I want to wear my gun proudly. Like I just don't understand. I don't get it.
well, no, and that's in conversation with all of the mass shootings are people being killed.
Yeah, like and you're
If
still
if we
comfortable
weren't
saying that.
seeing that time and time again, maybe we can have that conversation, but we are.
I don't get it. I
Little
really don't.
kids are
Yeah,
going through
and like
those drills.
they don't understand that this is an America problem. Like people aren't doing this everywhere. You think little French kids are learning active shooter drills? Like no. Like what the hell?
Oh man.
It's just very scary that media is has that much control over people and the way that algorithms work out have that much control over people
Yeah. I
that
think it's getting worse.
it is. It is. It's getting way worse. Like somebody, like the whole thing right now with Georgia and this SB whatever shit and the voting restrictions and they're doing all the shit as always for voter suppression. They didn't like that Georgia got flipped. They're not just gonna let that slide.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I haven't looked it up because I don't really like again, the news isn't gonna tell me anything. It's not gonna teach me anything. But like real briefly, like I just looked at what it looks like. It's 100 pages long.
Oh geez.
It's long. But yet I can hear conversations when I go out in the real world and oh, the Democrats are like trying to jump this down and all they want to do is make it so you need a driver's license to vote. And like even the airlines are hopping in and the MLB wants to pull out of Georgia and that's just stupid. Like you need an ID to buy a plane ticket. Why don't you need an ID to buy a gun? It's just like, where are you getting this information? Because I'm pretty sure if there's 100-page bill, like it's pretty much it's gotta be deeper than that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's
But
it's a
they
sore loser mindset.
they felt that to their core, and that's what they believe that the bill is only you need a driver's license to get an ID.
Well, that and you can't vote the same day that you register. That's a really big one.
Yeah, and then I also saw something else in there where at any time they can decide to challenge your registration for any reason. It's like Patriot Act all over again.
Yeah.
But they read that somewhere and that's what they're running with. Like that's so fucking scary, man.
Who has control?
I
Who
don't
has
know.
control? We've lost control. There's no democracy in the US. What are we kidding? I'm
Yeah.
still going to vote, But there's no democracy.
Yeah, I'm still gonna vote for, I'm in the lesser of two evils, blah blah blah. And I can understand people that don't vote for sure, because it's not really like Democrat versus Republican. It's like power versus powerless.
Yeah, yeah,
Everybody sucks.
yeah. And then the rich get richer, the poor get poorer, the poor keep dying, poor
Yeah.
get COVID.
The pores. Getting sick is only for the pores. And I tell people this all the time, and they think they think it's funny because they'll say something like, well, I don't understand. They're telling us we gotta be 6 feet, but they want to open schools back. Why? Because COVID is for the pores. Okay. Who can't afford childcare? The pores. Okay. They need their kids back in school. Like nobody gets that. They're just always Democrat, Republican, like Navi.
Yeah.
Power versus the powerless. That's where it's at.
Mm.
People think this shit's always like,
And
ugh.
what would help is, if those rich people can distribute the wealth a little bit, why do you need 10, 20 billion trillion dollars to
Oh no,
yourself?
no. Donald Trump is just smart, okay? If he can find all of those it's not his fault the loopholes exist. If he knows how to use the loopholes to lower how much taxes he pays, he's just a smart businessman.
And the best part about it is like literally brainwashing even poor people from thinking that they're going to get taxed more through these bills. Like, no, I don't think you're understanding.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a mess. It's a mess. I hate it here, but we're stuck here. So I'm gonna complain and loudly.
Nah, but we can also just move forward with what we can control, you
Yeah,
know?
that's pretty much it. I mean, when it comes to living like day to day, there's so much fucking doom and gloom that is real. We don't need conspiracy theories. Like, real life is enough. Like, being Asian in the street, knowing that people are gonna jump you just for looking Asian, even if you're fucking Filipino, they think you're Chinese. They don't know the difference. Racist as fuck. Like, that's good enough. I don't need a Bill Gates vaccine conspiracy theory. Like, that's enough, you know? Like, just me thinking, like, do I want to call the cops for this? Maybe they might kill me, even though I need help.
Mhm.
Like,
Mm,
that's good enough. So, yeah, there's enough doom and gloom. But just what can I control?
mm,
What makes me happy? And how could I pay my bills?
exactly.
And just fucking just keep floating in the sea of trash. That's all, just on a little lifesaver floating through a sea of trash, just trying not to sink. That's it. That's where we're at right
Oh
now.
man, that's gross.
That's
But
it.
that's
That's where we're
real.
at,
That's
And
real.
you're on your lifesaver over there. I got a little rope. I got you. We're together.
There
Great.
you go. We'll just float in this sea of trash
That's it.
together.
That's
Nah,
all.
yeah, and just like being able to get up and conquer that day sometimes is going to be rough. You don't have to open your social media accounts and be angry all the time. You just need to wake up sometimes.
Yeah.
Make
It's
sure you eat. Make sure you shower.
exactly.
Take care of
I
yourself.
definitely pulled one of those wear something nice just because things today.
I noticed. I love it. You even have the necklace on.
I got a
Like,
necklace on. Yeah.
I
Shit's
like.
rough out here. Maybe our bonus content can be some tips for detoxing from
Mm,
bullshit. Detoxing from heavy, heavy shit. Things to do.
I like that.
Yeah, that's what we'll do. Dogs are barking, sorry. If they're very passionate also. So, yeah,
Yeah.
sucks.
And if y'all want to chat, I mean, our DMs are open. If y'all need you know, someone to listen to you, we're here.
Yeah, if you need a no questions ask. I don't need to explain who I am or where I am, but this shit is bothering me. Perfect. We're perfect for that. Just dump it. Okay? But ask first.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Ask
Depends
before you
on who
dump
you're
it.
talking to, because you this is I just learned, by the way, it's called trauma dumping. Ask first. Like, are you cool?
Oh,
Can we
yeah,
talk
yeah.
about this?
Even if
That's a
we're
thing.
friends.
Yeah, yeah. Because you
Yeah,
might not be ready today.
exactly.
Yes.
Oof,
Because DMs are not filtered. They're just DMs. If I just open it, you send me some shit I wasn't ready for.
that's
So
true.
DMs are open, but please, hey, can I talk to you guys about something?
Yeah.
Disclaimer. Disclaimer. No trauma dumping. Trauma sharing, yes. No dumping. Yikes. All right, guys. Don't forget the word of the day is always white supremacy. Disabled girls out.